There, my name's Chancellor from Be Your Purpose Coaching. Today, I want to explore the powers within being an empath. I want to explore why you are an empath and actually lean into the conversation about what is draining your energy. And of course, let's talk about what you can do to reverse that energy drain. Let's get started. Within my own purpose, that part of my purpose is to help people have their spiritual awakening. I often say to clients that my purpose is to help the graduation class of the Starseeds to be able to get what they need so that we can move beyond this earth to a new mission, to a new existence. And so typically, a lot of my clients happen to be empaths. Now, empaths are starseeds. They've come into this reality with phenomenal healing abilities. And yet, the density here on Earth can really make them feel uncomfortable. There's a sense of insecurity as they're very well aware, very well aware of the suffering and the pain that's going on in this world. And because they are great healers, their natural instinct is to, beam out their energy to radiate that healing frequency so others can get it. The problem is that being an empath, typically before they've come here on earth, they've put their hand up for a soul contract to come into a bit of a chaotic family. It's part of the design to understand what you don't want, to know what you do want. Coming into that chaotic family to understand the polarity and the heaviness here on earth, to understand the greatness within your healing gifts. But of course, there's that apprenticeship, right, of moving through that chaotic family, moving through the conditioning, moving through the 3D matrix at a very young age that can be quite difficult and consuming to experience. Typically, the empath will have put their hand up for a chaotic family, and as a little one, they move through this world psychically scanning the room to check in, what does mum need, what does dad need, and then they will adjust themselves to keep the peace. If mum's all tense and stressed, does the little one go into like helping mum make a cup of tea, or does the little one just like escape and move their siblings out of the space? Do what they can to make sure everybody's comfortable, safe, calm. And that's a brilliant survival mechanism when you're little. The problem is when you grow up and you're still trained to put other people first, it can be incredibly depleting as a grown up. Now, the next thing to know with the empath journey is because you were trained to put somebody else first, you were so far on that spectrum of overgiving that any healthy person would pick up on that and say, wait a minute, that's kind of not okay. But typically, like a toxic narcissistic person who wants to make their existence all about them is completely magnetically pulled to the empath. So we have this dynamic where the narcissist wants to be put first, the empath wants to have somebody else be put first, and then here we go. It's interesting that both the empath and the narcissist does share the same core wounding in that they've both had a traumatic chaotic kind of upbringing. And so when the empath sees that in the narcissist, there's this overdrive to want to give, help, serve, heal, and hoping that sometime that the gratitude and the appreciation will be put back on the empath, like, wow, thank you. Typically, in a long empathic relationship with a narcissist, you'll be waiting a really long time for that thank you. But in the early days, the narcissist does know how to charm somebody just long enough for them to stay in the relationship, to build an investment in that relationship. So I have gone off track a little bit, but I'm wanting to set that foundation to understand that a lot of the empath troubles, the energy drain, actually does come from that core conditioning as a child. What do you need? And being the perfectionist to make sure that, if mum or dad's in a narky mood, that they don't yeah, doing anything you can to avoid that narky kind of judgment and criticism. There's within the empath and feeling the density and the suffering here on earth, there tends to be a leaning into being really busy to distract yourself from the problems, because there's this yeah, there's this learning and there's this training in how to actually receive healthy support so that you can shine your light. So if you're an empath and you're feeling drained and feeling that energy drain, then it's absolutely time to check in with yourself about what are the childhood limitations, where are you misusing your energy, why are you still scanning, to look for that threat. As a child, you would have, again, psychically scanned the room. How is everybody doing? And then adjusted yourself. But as a grown up, like, why are you still doing that at such an extreme level? What is that potential threat? And, why is there that need for it to be peaceful and harmonious rather than just expecting it to be harmonious? What is going on that you've attracted in such turbulent kind of scenarios that are messing with your nervous system? I can promise you that when you do work on that core wounding at the unconscious level, that you actually levitate, raise your energy, you raise your standards so that you are no longer at that level where people can push your buttons, especially not those toxic takers. You're not at that level for them to push your buttons anymore. You're now at a different frequency so that you can start to embrace the healing and attract in people that want to receive the phenomenal gifts that you have within being an empath. Typically, that empath is a star seed. They come to this world with such great healing, and they need to be able to learn how to get out of that hermit cave, find their tribe, and really excel in their gifts. That could mean being a kinesiologist, a Reiki practitioner, spinal energetics person, an NLP coach, a psychic medium, anybody there who brings in that phenomenal energy healing. It's like, yes, let's let's bring more of that into this world. As a thinking about a spiritual group that I facilitate, and I did ask the group, how do you take on board other people's energy? And each and every single one of them had said, yeah, I feel the anxiety in my heart space, or the tightness in my neck, or I feel like this gut wrenching feeling from in my gut, when I'm taking on board other people's energy. And I found it fascinating. I said to the group, well, what happens when you're amongst happy people? And it was like, well, then there is no problem. I just get on with my day. And it was like, right. So again, what is going on that you're constantly scanning for people's anxiety and negative feelings? What is going on there? And what would happen if you actually handed back that energy for them to respond to, for them to take responsibility for, and almost had that energetic boundary of like, okay, that problem is yours. I'm not here to automatically solve it for you. Happy to offer my services to help you solve that, but I'm not going to do it just automatically. So I would, again, if you're noticing this pattern within yourself, I would check in with that automatic, instinctive, like going into help scenario rather than waiting to be asked. It's interesting that the people who are going through their own journey of anxiety or heaviness have their own experiences to learn how to resolve it for themselves and not always be rescued. There's a possibility that you could be stepping in on somebody's free will. If they're spinning out in anxiety, there's always that invitation to say, would you like some help? Versus, that unconscious, energetic sort of radiating your energy to fix it. It's interesting that as an empath that we often lower our energy, almost like getting into the hole with somebody, okay, I'm here with you, like let's get out of here together, rather than the empath staying out of the hole and saying, like, would you like some help? I can feel myself talking fast. I've got so much information that I want to share with you. But at the end of the day, I'm just wanting to point out to you where the limitations are coming in that automatically drain your energy. The times that you're going into fear of other people's judgments, fearing of things being chaotic, procrastinating to avoid, other people's harsh judgments, overgiving to prove your value. All of these things are pointing to the empath wounding that needs to be addressed. You can do this within self-coaching, but ultimately it's better to work with somebody who can help you see outside of those limitations. So I can promise you that when you do look at that core wounding, when you do shift and pivot and change what you're automatically been doing, life does get a lot easier. You can attract in that high vibe team that really speak and resonate at that higher level. And then your empath gifts can absolutely shine. You can start to bring in that natural healing, which is actually part of your purpose to begin with. I hope that makes sense, guys. It's been an honor to share this insight with you. I hope it helps. I'll talk to you later.